everyone. Welcome to Lattes on My Mind. I'm Hannah.
And I'm Felina.
What are we going to be talking about today, Felina?
Today we're going to be talking about Hitler. Did he die? Did he not die? So grab your lattes and join us for the journey. How the heck have you been, Hannah?
You know, I turned old.
You
when
turned
we were
old.
apart.
You did.
Yes.
We haven't seen each other for 4 whole days.
This is a record.
I feel like it is.
I mean, recently, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because even when you had your anniversary weekend, didn't we see each other? Or no?
I think we went to like Waffle House or something.
Yeah. We did something.
Yeah, we just couldn't stay apart.
Yeah, this weekend, I don't know. It was a kind of crazy weekend for me. Wes went to the urgent care. He's fine.
Yeah,
he
that
just
was wild.
It's like one thing after another. My dog got sick on my birthday.
Yeah,
So,
that was rough.
Yeah, and then Wes, his foot. He has plantar fasciitis.
Fasciitis?
Yeah.
Fash.
Whoa. I don't know how to say it.
Fasciitis?
Fasciitis? Apparently, yeah.
Fasciitis? Fasciitis?
I'm no doctor. He's okay. And I turned 30. Yeah.
The big 3-0. Do you feel wiser?
I feel so wise.
Are your bones creaking?
No, actually, well, I feel better these days because of the chiropractor. So
Right.
I'm feeling younger
Right.
every day. So I don't know what people are talking about. Just emotionally, I'm drained. I was supposed to be having a relaxing weekend, and then Wes, I had to take care of him all weekend.
That diva him.
I know. He milks it too. He's like, "Oh, my foot,
It's like a man cold type of a
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm slightly kidding, but he does like to milk it a little bit. But
He needs to be taken care
yeah,
of.
yeah.
That one. That baby. Him.
He's so helpless.
He is.
But anyway, what about your weekend? With you, you had so much work to do
Listen.
on your own.
Marshall and I planted a garden, okay? And Hannah literally had to bring me hydrocortisone cream because my blood pressure has been up all day long. I've been trying not to itch my scratch my itches because I got chigger bites all over me. Luckily, they're not really on my arm, which I don't really understand, but they're all over my legs, all over my torso.
Ugh.
It's so annoying.
And they're so small, so you don't know that they're on you, right?
You don't even feel them on you.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, hey, I have plenty of this. You may have a bottle.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Hannah came in clutch because I went to the store and I was like, where is the anti-itch cream?
I bought it all. I had it all at my house, apparently.
It's all at Hannah's. But no, like literally nowhere in the store was there anything.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
It's wild.
Meyer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Myers?
Myers.
It's like, you don't do that to like Kroger. You don't say Kroger's. Is that like a thing? Like you don't say Myers, or is it Meyer?
Kroger has an S at the end of it?
No, it doesn't. But people like to call it Kroger's, which is annoying.
Yeah.
So did I just do that with Myers? Because I thought it was Myers. I guess it's just Meyer. You're right.
I think it's just Meyer.
Is it as like frowned upon to say Myers?
I don't think so.
Okay. Ooh. Kroger's. That sounds silly.
And the Target.
The Target. Well, you gotta say Target.
You gotta say Target. You make it fancy, especially if you're buying undergarments.
Yeah,
and you're going
that's
to the
true.
Target.
You're getting the undergarments at the Target.
You know, they got those 5 for $20, whatever. You know, snag you a couple.
We went to Target the other day, and Wes was like, "Women in Target," and I was like, "I come here like what, like once every few months? Like it's not like I'm here daily.
I don't go there often, and I think it's because Marshall doesn't like to go there.
Oh.
Well, I didn't grow up going there because I grew up in a smaller town near here, and we didn't have one. The closest one was the one up by us.
Up by on here, yonder, right there,
over yonder. But yeah, we went to Kroger when we were visiting. Or what? No, we went to Target while we were visiting family, and he was like, I like this Target a lot better. And I was like, it's the same people.
I will say when I went to Target over here, yonder, The other day, everything was like torn apart. Like
Really?
there were shoes, like just like people had thrown shoes all over the place, like boxes and boxes and boxes.
They must have just had a shoe sale or something.
I know. I was like, these poor people, are they short staffed or something? Because
Probably, yeah.
it was just like clothes, like things everywhere. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, what is happening?
Yeah, it's wild.
But yeah.
Speaking of things everywhere, Hannah,
Oh gosh.
are you ready for today?
Yeah, I'm so ready. This is a little light topic for your evening or morning, I suppose.
Yeah, for light listening for you.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be talking about Hitler, specifically his death.
So we're talking about like the conspiracy around Hitler. We're not just talking about.
Oh yeah, the conspiracy.
Ooh,
sure,
oh,
say it's not real, Hannah.
Okay.
Say it's not real.
Excuse me. It is my what would you call it? Responsibility as a podcaster to present both sides. So we're
Whatever.
gonna say it's okay. Whatever.
Whatever.
Okay. Felina apparently has some deep deets for me. Deep
Listen,
deets.
I got so entrenched into this. I literally had a show called Hunting Hitler. It's on Amazon Prime, and I think it's also on Max. You guys should check it out.
Okay.
I had it on the entire time I was doing my research.
Dang.
Yeah.
So you were like getting double information.
Yeah. And I kept getting distracted.
Okay. So what are you gonna tell me? What are you gonna tell me today?
Well, I'm going to tell you guys, all of you, again,
Okay.
what your history teachers did not.
Uh-oh. We're back to that.
Here's what your history book says.
Okay.
What your history book says is that Hitler died on April 30th in 1945
Okay.
at 56 years of age.
Oh, I didn't even know he was that old.
Yeah.
I thought we did away with him sooner.
No, he had a rough start now.
That's right.
Because
That's
remember,
right.
he like wrote what
Art
he was
school.
gonna, he went to school, he wrote down and his like manifesto what he was gonna do, and everybody was
Right.
like, ah, ha, ha, ha. And then he did that.
Yeah.
So,
Like we said before, you got to watch out for the crazies.
you do. He was 56. And the way history says it happened is he was going about his morning. He was in the bunker in Berlin. And Soviet troops were like closing in
Right.
on him, right? Well, then he got news of Mussolini's death and his wife, mistress, whoever she was.
Right.
And it was like a horrific death. It was like a very dishonorable death.
Right.
So he decided he was going to marry his long-term mistress, Eva Braun.
Okay.
And then he drafted his last will and testament.
Right.
And then together, now there's some speculation on, was it just them, or did he make everybody in the bunker, drink this poison or whatever?
Oh.
Together, they, air quote, committed suicide. Now, there's also some speculation on whether or not he drank poison or he shot himself.
How is there speculation?
I don't know exactly.
How did they not?
I've heard and read. Oh, he drank poison. I've heard and read there was a gunshot. He shot.
Right.
He shot himself.
Yeah.
And everybody else drank the poison.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah, up to this point, this is what I've always heard, but I've also heard like that's not really the end of him. But that's as far as like I know.
Well, according to history, their bodies were buried
Okay.
and then exhumed
Okay.
and burned per Hitler's request. The
What-
bodies were burned.
What does he get to say?
What does he get to say? And also, what does he need to burn his body? He don't need to burn his body. Sounds a little sus to me. So now we're going to get into some contrary evidence.
Okay.
In 2016.
Dang. What?
Yeah. And talk about a jump.
Why wait so long?
Well, they didn't necessarily wait that long, but we'll
Right.
get into that. In 2016, FBI investigation shows they opened an FBI investigation. They declassified all the files regarding Hitler.
Oh.
The FBI did.
They declassified.
They're
Okay.
declassified. They had somebody open up an investigation and follow it. Okay?
Okay.
So we're kind of going along with them as they follow.
All right,
this.
let's follow them.
And they found that there was no hard evidence that Hitler died in the Berlin bunker. However, they have found what they knew to be 4 exits. They did a 3D model of the bunker because the bunker has been destroyed. So they did a 3D model of the bunker, and there was 4 exits, but they have since found a 5th exit from the bunker, and there were tunnels. 4 of them were inside. The 5th one, you come out of the bunker, and it's like very short distance.
Yeah.
To the next tunnel where you can just boop boop, just go on down in there.
Okay.
This evidence that you may be wondering, well, what's the evidence? Why is there such a difference? Why do we, if history says he died, what's the evidence? The evidence, testimonies from Nazis and Nazi pilots in particular. We're going to look at one. They followed the money trail.
Okay.
They followed debts owed to Hitler.
Oh.
Photographical evidence.
Photographs, huh?
And archaeological digs.
Okay.
There is more evidence from those supporting that Hitler did, in fact, escape the Berlin bunker.
So there's more evidence that he did escape than that he didn't.
Yes.
Because we're like, what happened to him? Because no one really actually found his body, supposedly.
Supposedly.
There was a body.
They found the body. They burned it.
Right.
They have like dental whatever stuff that they can DNA test, and we'll get into that.
Okay. Do tell.
So there were 700 FBI documents.
Dang.
After the FBI declassified their documents, every major organization, like military or whatever organization, declassified their documents. Okay. And there's 14,621 files from every organization in the world with evidence supporting that Hitler escaped the bunker.
Dang.
Every major military, every major government organization has these files, and they declassified them.
So that's more than just like being like, oh, there may be something out there. That's like
there's hard evidence.
Yeah, hard evidence.
But nobody, this FBI group put it together. This FBI group did their thing with the FBI files, and they put all of the world's files on the matter into like a database, so you can like search key points, and then it'll pop up with each file.
Okay.
That there is.
Okay.
So, as we know, the Soviets were closing in on the Nazis, and their confirmation, they did kind of a hack job of this, oh, Hitler's dead, you know. They didn't perform an autopsy on the body before it was burned. That's wild. Why would you not do that?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, that's already, especially someone like Hitler.
Which I think is why there could be like so much speculation about, was he poisoned? Did he shoot himself? We don't know.
Yeah.
We can't say.
Yeah.
So they never did an autopsy on him, and their quote confirmation, my throat gurgled. I'm so sorry. Their confirmation came from like his right-hand man in the bunker, and he testified that he never saw the body. He never saw the face of Hitler. They never opened up the body bag and let him look at it and confirm that it was him. They said, hey, this is Hitler, right? And he was like, sure. In the body bag, carried him away. They never confirmed it.
So if he was his right-hand man, wouldn't he be more likely to want to say, oh yeah, he's dead, if he was like trying to help Hitler escape?
Not necessarily.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like, doesn't that kind of prove that, like, okay, like, he's like, yeah, I didn't even see his face. So he's like pretty much being like, he could have confirmed that he was dead so that he could escape.
Well, but by that time, he had already escaped.
Right.
So I think yes, I can see that being the case, but I could also see it not, because then he could also be like, well, I don't want to say he's dead, because then what happens to the Nazis? Like his movement is like dead after him. So we got to say, well, what if he's alive?
Right.
And, and keep the momentum going for the Nazi supporters. So In June, now remember, Hitler was supposedly died April 30th
Right.
of 1945. In June of 1945, the Soviets made a statement that Hitler's remains had not yet been located and that he was still presumed to be alive.
What the heck?
And then they said, oh, just kidding.
Oh, wait, actually, oops, we misspoke.
Yeah.
What? Well, because this is like...
My guess is like whistleblower situation.
Right. They were like, oh, actually, no.
Yeah.
Because you don't just... This war has to end. Like, you know, and you don't just... You know, if he was dead, that would be like a... That would be something that they would want to proclaim. You know, like, oh, he's dead. Like, that would be like, yeah, the war's over. We got the bad guy. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That would be the best, you know, scenario. But now someone's saying, bro, he's alive.
Literally from the Soviet side.
Right.
They're like, he's alive. And then it sounds like the rest of them were like, shh, don't tell them that. We need the win.
Right.
We need the win.
Well, because no one wants to hear...
Well, because even if he wasn't alive, he was in hiding. He was forced underground. He was... So they had done away with him. Because
if not, someone's going to kill him.
Right.
That's why he would be in hiding.
Yeah. Well, he was 56 years old, too. Yeah. So it's like... He also will get into some health issues he had as well. So he wasn't in the best of health.
Right.
So they were like, well, even if he's not dead, even if that wasn't him, he's going to be. He can't be on the run for that long.
Okay.
Guess they really underestimated how many people supported the Nazis.
Yeah, really.
Because let me tell you, there was a lot. So a couple of days before Hitler's, quote, suicide, a plane at a nearby airbase was loaded up with his personal belongings, and that airport, not airbase. It was Tempelhof Airport.
Okay.
One of the tunnels, in the bunker, you can follow it through. Well, now, not necessarily all the way because, again, the bunker is destroyed, but you can see where the tunnel was, and then you can go to the point where it's still there.
Right.
Still there, literally in like a neighborhood. It's like there's an entry drain. Nobody knows about it, and I guess they think it's a sewer or something. And you can climb down in it, and they followed the trail, and it took them through the like subway tunnels.
Yeah.
It like led them to the subway tunnels, and the subway tunnels weren't active during World War II. Too, because like the city was on fire. Who's going to go take the subway?
Right.
So it wasn't active at all. And they went through the subway, and then they went to the exit of the subway. And like went up, and they were like, "Oh, that's a pretty far. Like, there's a lot of open area right here. That's a pretty far way to go to the entrance of the airport. Like, Hitler wouldn't risk that. I don't see a 56-year-old man with asthma running that far. You know, like, yeah, you can see it, but it's like it's still far enough away where I don't think he would have done it." So they had like this like technology, and they like scanned the ground. Yeah. And it showed that there was like, they were like flagging like anomalies or whatever. And it showed like this straight line to like the middle of like the airport. Right.
So like it had been filled in?
Yeah. So they went down, and they were like, let's see if we can like find a tunnel.
Okay.
So they go down, and they're like, this would be an entrance to a tunnel. And then they realized it was like not quite the airport. It like the tunnel led. So it led like, here's the subway. You have the subway, and then it like veers off, and it leads to like an underground walkway. Right. That's still active today. Okay. And so it leads to the underground walkway, which then leads into the airport. And so there was a tunnel. So they went to that walkway. And they went to the point where it should have been an entrance, and they like knocked on the tile, and it was like, okay, yeah, there's wall, and then it was like, and it was hollow. Like hollow, and then it was like a doorway that had been covered up.
Okay.
So there was a tunnel. Right. Now I'm saying that's probably how they got. Either that was a plan B. Or that's how they got his personal effects onto the plane.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like if he was like escaped at night, like he still could have probably like someone could have got like walked him or like wheeled him, right? Like maybe not underground, but like also
Yeah.
if they covered it up. Why would the tunnel be covered up if they didn't use it?
They just built the walkway there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They built the walkway to like cover it up, I guess. Or was was that the walkway was there?
The walkway was there.
Okay.
So they built over and then so they repaired the walkway, basically.
Who filled it in? After.
No telling. No telling.
Okay.
I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Interesting.
All I know is I don't believe that Hitler escaped through the Tempelhof airport.
Where did
there
he
is
go?
also evidence, the DNA testing.
Okay.
Okay. So they had like the teeth and I guess certain parts of the bone or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. They have certain remains, whatever. They're able to DNA test.
Mm-hmm.
The remains labeled Hitler
Just Hitler.
were tested in 2016, 2017-ish. And the results came back and the results were that the remains were female remains.
Okay. What the heck? Hitler was a woman?
So regardless of did Hitler die, did Hitler not die, we still have not located his remains.
Whatever the case, they literally picked up the wrong body. And they had to have
The
known
body
that.
labeled Hitler
Yeah.
was not Hitler.
So they're like, yeah, this is him. And then they just took it and it was it the mistress? Or do they not know who it was?
I don't think it is.
It's not like attached to anyone.
It
like,
didn't
it's not
say.
like,
Yeah,
okay,
it didn't say. I will say this: the United States has no evidence that Hitler died.
Okay.
They never confirmed. They have no. They could not find his remains. But according to the Soviet files, they found Hitler's remains and they burned him.
Interesting. And like you're saying, like in America, like the records, they don't say that.
They don't say that. So why do our history books say that?
Yeah.
They don't say that. That's why this
It's
FBI team was assembled to investigate it, because they literally didn't say it.
Right. It's easier to be like, oh yeah, he died. Don't worry, like he's gone.
It's easier to believe. Oh, we beat the evil.
Right.
Okay, so going back a little bit to the how did he escape if not through Tempelhof Airport? I will get to that. I promise.
Okay.
But right now we're gonna transition into the Hitler Youth.
Oh dear. Oh goodness.
So it's now the oldest generation in Argentina.
Okay.
There's a town and they claim to have been a part of the Hitler Youth Army. There was an all-boys school and they were trained to be Nazi soldiers. And they spoke with one of them and they admitted to having flown the Nazi flag.
Yeah, that's not something you just want to claim for the heck of it.
No.
Like you don't really want to be associated with that. I would assume in general.
Well, and every time they would go talk to people, it was so hard to get information because it was anytime you brought up German families in the area, Nazis, Hitler, you didn't even have to bring up Nazis and Hitler. If you were like, hey, are there any German families in the area? They'd be like, I'm not allowed to talk to you anymore.
Oh my gosh.
Even if let's say even Hitler lived, Hitler would be dead by now. What are they scared of?
This would be in Argentina.
In
Argentina?
In 2016. They were talking to these people.
Huh.
And they said, I'm not allowed to talk to you.
Dang.
You need to go.
My gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would assume that there would be a threat on their life for some reason. Because, if he actually was dead, what?
Or they're just that brainwashed. They were that scared.
Well, that's
it was
true.
that much of a secret.
Well, yeah, if you're that traumatized or you were part of that, you probably were sworn to absolute secrecy, and there's probably huge consequences.
Yeah. like, speaking of
That's
like
scary.
consequences, I didn't have this in my notes, but there was like the guy who would, if Hitler did die, the guy who was supposed to take over, like, for him, his like great niece was like alive in like the this island that we'll talk about later. She was alive on this island, and there was like the local neighborhood kids would like carve swastikas in a tree on her property.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And that was the guy who was with him's great-granddaughter? Whose
It was
great-granddaughter?
like the guy who was supposed to take over. It was like
the guy who was supposed to take
one
over.
of the founders of the Nazi Party.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, his great granddaughter, or his great niece.
Okay.
Was like they still would carve.
Dang.
Because her maiden name, and it was really sad too, because it talked about how obviously she doesn't control what her great uncle did,
right,
or anything, but her maiden name is the same as his, and he's pretty well known. I can't remember the guy, but her doctor, her physician, was Jewish.
Wow.
And she had always gone by her married name. You know, she doesn't believe the same way he did, obviously. She'd always gone by her married name. And her doctor saw her maiden name one time and refused to see her.
Wow. Yeah.
Like, that's how, like, and it's like, which you can't really know what people believe and what people don't. But
yeah,
I just thought it was interesting.
Dang.
Yeah.
And you have to be careful, obviously, too. Like, in that time, like, I'm sure, like, if you have any association with that family, like, people probably would be scared to have any association with you because they don't know what secrets are going on.
Yeah.
Even now. Like, apparently even now.
Mm-hmm.
Or just whenever, 2016.
Yeah.
So,
not that far ago. Also, with the Hitler Youth. Hannah, are you ready for this?
I don't know.
A member of the Hitler Youth.
Okay.
He passed away. His son was going through his belongings, and he found a very peculiar photo with a very peculiar writing on the back.
Okay.
And he also found Nazi medals.
Okay.
Of like the highest honor. And there were 2 of them. His father was a part of the Hitler Youth.
Okay.
He didn't really know about it.
Right.
Until he found it. He had 2 of the highest honor medals, 2 of them. And this was in Argentina. And there was a photograph that said Adolf. And I can't remember the year. But if you looked at it, it was not a 56-year-old man. It was much, much older.
So, like, the year probably said after.
Yeah, I can't remember the year. I don't even think they could even make out the year.
So, these Hitler Youth, was it like they weren't actually in the war? They were like
they
Hitler's
were post-war. Well, they were post-war and like during the war. They didn't go and fight during the war.
Right, but this guy had medals.
It was set up during the war.
Okay. So this was like
and we'll get to why at the end.
Okay, we'll get to why. Okay. I was going to say this, like he had like he was building a new army sort of thing. Okay, no, I'll just let you.
Maybe. Who knows?
What the heck?
There's a literal photograph of Hitler.
Just chilling in the
over the age of 56.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You've seen the photo.
So you might be wondering, okay, where exactly did Hitler go? Right. What exactly happened? So, how did he get out? Who helped him? Obviously, you're going to have help. You're a very high profile target. You know, like you're going to have help. So, there was a Nazi pilot.
Okay.
His last name was Baumgart. I can't remember his first. He testified under oath that he flew Hitler from the Brandenburg Gate, which was like a park with like a really long makeshift airway.
Right.
On April 29th, 1945.
And he was supposed to have died on the 25th?
He
When
was
was it?
supposed to have died on the 30th.
The 30th. Oh, the 30th.
He flew him
He
out
flew him
of
before.
Berlin on the 29th. Testified under oath. I now, sorry. I know that people can lie under oath still.
Yeah.
But
what does he have to gain?
yeah, exactly.
Like,
he has nothing to gain from saying, oh, I flew Hitler out on the 29th. It's also important to note that Brandenburg Gate was the last standing defense for the Germans.
Okay.
It was the last thing taken over.
Okay.
They were guarding that with their lives till the very end. It was the last thing to fall.
Okay. And it's not like no one knows what Hitler looks like.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like it's like, oh, this was definitely like Hitler. Like, I mean,
yeah.
he knows what he looks like. Everyone
knows what Hitler looks like. He's, like I said, a high value target.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Now, the plane that Baumgard was flying, we're saying, okay, Hitler went from Berlin to Argentina, right? It couldn't fly that far. It couldn't fly that far.
It was like a small plane.
It was a very small plane. It's 7,400.56 miles from Argentina to Berlin.
Okay.
And not only could his plane not fly that far, no plane could fly that far.
Yeah.
Like, they would have had to stop somewhere.
Right. They would have had to, go somewhere.
So they were like, okay, what happened? Where'd he go?
Right.
Where'd he end up? Where'd he stop? Because you were either for the Allies or you were for the Nazis, and the Allies had taken over pretty much everything.
Right.
At that point. Okay. Francisco Franco.
Oh, fun name.
Was the dictator of Spain.
Oh.
You might be wondering, how did he come to power? I'm sure you weren't, but I'm going to tell you how he came to power.
I am now.
There was a civil war in Spain, and Hitler aided Franco's rise to power by sending German troops and bombers.
Oh.
During World War II, Hitler purposefully avoided any battles taking place in Spain.
Okay.
Because he needed Franco.
Yeah, they had a little agreement here going on.
He needed Franco for his, craps hit the fan,
Gonna fly and then fly from there.
I don't know, Hannah. Is he?
Okay, I don't know.
Well, okay, so they were like, so this is just a theory. We know that he owed this. What do the documents show? The FBI documents show multiple allies for Hitler in Spain.
Dang.
However, remember, Baumgart's plane wasn't very big.
Right.
Baumgart could not have gotten that plane from Berlin to Spain.
Oh, not even from Berlin. Okay.
So there needed to be another stop.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
So the theory, and some evidence, there was a document that had a certain location, which was a field in Denmark.
Okay. Yeah.
This from Spain to from Berlin to Denmark.
Right.
Totally could have done it.
Okay.
There was trees and stuff, and he was like, I need to know if these trees are here. So they took the core of the tree and they tested how old it was, and they were like, these weren't here until the 1950s. So this was a completely open field in 1945.
Okay. So you can land this.
So he could have landed a plane and hopped over here.
Okay.
It's also important. You might be thinking, Denmark, but the war was over.
Right.
But the Allies were not occupying Denmark at that time. They had all been pushed to Berlin.
Right.
So there would have been plenty of time for him to get off of a plane, fly to Denmark, get off of that plane, hop on another one, and then fly to Spain.
And Denmark's a smaller country, I believe. So that might not have been
their top priority.
Yeah. I would think.
Yeah. Literally, the soldiers walked home in Denmark.
Right. It's small.
Yeah.
Gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So Now, my theory probably is, okay, so his stuff, his belongings were on a plane. He probably hopped off of that plane and hopped on the plane with all of his stuff on it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, probably. Because, like, I mean, if I would think that if you're flying, you would go a different
want
way
with your stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. You would want, yeah. I don't know. I was thinking you would probably get out whatever way you can. Yeah. So if they couldn't collect all his stuff and he went out before he supposedly died, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe he left and then they like sent
they sent his plane.
Yeah.
Right. Since, I mean.
Right.
So, okay. So where'd he go after Spain? You know, that's.
Right.
That's what did he do after Spain? Well, there's a monastery in Spain. And there was a boy who worked there. He was 15. Or no, he was 18. And he had always told people that he had seen Hitler when he was working in the monastery with his own eyes. He was like, I've seen him here. Hitler was here. He was in that dining hall with Nazi soldiers. They were here after the war in May.
It's not like people who went through that just like forget dates or that the war is over or that they saw Hitler.
Right.
Like, why would you claim that?
He was like, he was here in May. But he's not the only one. There was a construction crew hired. And there was a 15-year-old boy on this construction crew. And this construction crew was hired to dig tunnels underground.
Interesting job.
Because, again, as you said, Hitler's recognizable.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be seen. He cannot be seen. If he's seen, it's game over.
Right.
Right? So they were supposed to dig tunnels underground. And they saw this plane land. And he said like 4 or 5 soldiers, the pilot got off and then like 4 or 5 soldiers got off. Okay. And one of them looked like Hitler without his mustache.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't he shave it off?
Yeah. Like you're going on, I mean, you're still recognizable, but you know, your most recognizable feature is your mustache. Then you're going to shave it, right?
Right. Right.
Well, there was an 18-year-old boy again who they talked to. He was fishing nearby. And the plane went right over his head, and he ducked because he thought it was going to hit him. Hannah, when I tell you, this plane landed in a potato field.
A potato field.
It landed in a potato field.
Okay.
So he ducked, and then he got up and ran over to see what was happening. Why was that plane flying so low? And he saw a pilot and 5 German soldiers getting off the plane. Mm-hmm. He didn't say he saw Hitler. He's saying he saw the pilot and 5 German soldiers. Sorry.
It's a hard word to say.
So you couple those two together.
Yeah.
All right. So you have eyewitness testimony. Eyewitness testimony isn't the best thing in the world. So this team, they went and they were like, okay, you know, we're here. Right. We're in this potato field. They did a scan of like the terrain and stuff. And they were like, could something have possibly landed here? Could a plane have landed here? And sure enough, a plane could have landed here. They were like, okay, so a plane could have landed here, but there's no saying, because the guy who was fishing was like, it was an unmarked plane. It had no like flags on it or anything.
Right. Why?
And so he was like, well, there's nothing telling, like, you know, maybe he just saw something or whatever. So they went to like this like shack or whatever where the tunnels began. And the expert on like the area was like, yeah, so this was made for Germans. Like the Nazis to come and escape. And they were like, okay, well, what do you know about this plane landing here? They were like, I can't tell you about a plane. I can tell you that there were, from this location, you go 5 miles out in either direction. 5 miles in either direction. And there was German antennas.
For like
in a triangular position, pinpointing where the plane was supposed to land.
Right. Okay.
And they were like, can we see these? He said, well, we had a hurricane and it took the antennas down, but the base is still there.
Okay.
And the company that made, like, that put the antennas in, it was a very popular German, like, electrical company.
Right.
For that time and then even a little after.
Right.
So it's like, what are these doing in Spain?
Yeah.
Like, what are these doing? And why are they exactly 5 miles?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, why? And it's not like these people who are just like, yeah, German soldiers got off the plane. Like, like I said,
You know what he looks like.
what their uniforms at that time looked like.
It was a big deal.
You would know. Yeah.
Even if you're not involved in the war, which Spain
Everyone
really wasn't, but like.
But the whole world was involved.
Yeah.
My gosh. Okay.
I'm sorry. I think I misspoke. It was Hitler and 4 other Nazis.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So there's 5 total.
There's
5 men total.
Okay.
So you're like, okay, well, who's whatever, they went to Spain. They went to the ports because they had a tip from Argentina, from a document in Argentina, that the Argentinian Navy reported that U-boats arrived on their coast after World War II. And they even have eyewitness saying, yeah, I was just sitting here doing the dishes and I looked out the window and there was just a boat just submerged. There's like countless witnesses saying like, oh yeah, I saw a boat. And they went and they checked it out and they were like, oh yeah, you can totally see a boat coming up from here. So they were like, okay, but where would they have gone from? You know, like where would they have gone from? The Spanish government has 45 missing U-boats from Spain after the end of World War II.
Oh, they just lost these boats.
45 boats are unaccounted for.
45 they just lost.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Spain's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Not only was he seen there by people, they found the tunnels, and then they also found in the town by the monastery, there was a graveyard. They were like, let me see any imprints of like German soldiers being here.
Right.
So there was a graveyard and they went looking in it and then they were like, oh my gosh. And then like whatever was on it translated to the Germans. And it was like this big grave. And then they kept looking around and then engraved on like, it was like purposefully hidden. Like there was like a marker and it had the swastika symbol like engraved in it, and then they had purposefully built something to try and cover it up, like so
why
close
would they
to it.
What the heck?
Yeah, because nobody wants to.
No, I know, but why would they put it on there and then like
because it was
hide it?
It was the well, they didn't hide it. The people who put it on there didn't hide it. It was like after they left, they were like, oh, we got to hide this.
Yeah, you wouldn't want that.
We can't let people know.
No, I thought you meant the people that built it hid it. I was like, okay, why'd they even put it on there?
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I'd be like, we got to destroy this.
Yeah.
Was it like a grave? Was it like a grave for like, the soldiers, like German soldiers, or like, okay.
Yeah. I guess some of them must have like stayed there and taken sanctuary and like, like tried to move on from it,
Yeah.
So, again, Hitler's old. I mean, 56 isn't old now, but in 1945 it was pretty old.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was curious. I said, "What's the average U-boat like mileage?"
Right. Like
how far? Like could he have made it from Spain to Argentina? Right.
Right.
Well, turns out no.
Okay.
The average U-boat could travel about 5,000 miles before needing to be refueled.
Okay.
In 1945, I'm not sure.
Right.
From Spain to Argentina, it's 6,489 miles.
Okay. So yes, too much.
Too much. Where do you stop?
Wait. Okay. So if it's Spain, Argentina, I don't know.
Everywhere is
where water
the Allies. Where do you stop?
Oh.
Where do you go? Not only that, but imagine like going 6,489 miles submerged underwater in a U-boat, tight quarters. Like, you're getting off that boat, you're ill.
Oh, yeah.
You cannot make it. Imagine going 5,000 miles on the U-boat at 56 years old.
Thank you. You won't catch me.
Imagine going now. I don't want to.
Right.
But at 56, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So he's got to stop off somewhere, right?
Right. I mean, he's running for his life, so.
Yeah, but you don't want to get stranded either,
Yeah. You don't want to die in the boat, I guess, if you're trying to escape.
Not to mention, Hitler has asthma. He also has stomach ulcers. And he's being treated for those stomach ulcers. His physician even like reported like Hitler is in ill health, probably from like being down in the bunker for so long, you know?
Yeah.
But like he's in ill health, you know? So that is reported. Like his physician actually reported that.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was all snotty.
No,
So sorry. So what happened? Where did they go?
Right.
The only place they could go. The Canary Islands.
Okay.
They were the only place not a part of the Allies, not occupied by soldiers. They were the only place he could go. Everywhere else was like off limits. He would have been in severe danger if he went there. So they go to the Canary Islands. They rest and they resupply. They let Hitler heal up a little bit.
Okay.
Let him regain his strength to go the rest of the way.
Okay. Do you know how far that is from Spain? Or like how far would they have gone?
I actually didn't look that up.
Oh, it's okay. I was just wondering like if they like made it like the 5,000 or they like, well, obviously they couldn't make it like
Just 5,000 would be like
too much. That would be like, I was just wondering how far they would have had to.
That's actually a really good question, Hannah. Maybe you should look that up.
Okay.
And then I'll keep going. Because this gets kind of weird, kind of quirky. So Hitler did have allies in the Canary Islands. There was like, I can't remember who they were. Hitler, listen, he had so many allies. There were so many families that like supported him, whether it was like hiding him, whether it was giving him money for something, whether it was supporting the Nazi party or like whatever, or keeping their mouth shut, you know, like so many supporters, which is wild to me because the whole premise was this like perfect race. And it's almost funny to me that the people who he sought shelter from, like the places he went were so far away from that perfect race that he envisioned, you know? Because it was all blonde hair, blue eyed. Mm-hmm. And he went to Argentina. He went to Spain. Mm-hmm. He went to the Canary Islands. Like, interesting.
Why would they help him?
They wouldn't. But his funders would. The people who were the people who were his race, who lived in these areas, who owned businesses in these areas.
Right.
They would help him. So the local people, there is this quote castle. It's not a castle. It's a very big house. And it's very secluded, and it like you can't even really see it from the shoreline. And even if you're going by it, you would never know it was there, except for you can see just the little sliver of a guard shack. Just a little tiny sliver.
Just a little tiny bit.
The tiniest of slivers of a guard shack.
Okay. In Argentina? Is this where we are now?
In the Canary Islands.
Oh, Canary Islands.
The local people refer to it to this day as Hitler's Castle.
Okay.
I'd say that's pretty telling.
Why would you you wouldn't just call it Hitler's Castle?
I'd say that's pretty, someone saw something.
Yeah.
Someone had to deliver the food there.
Yeah.
Someone had to take care of stuff.
Yeah.
These people, they would go and they would deliver fruit to Hitler. And there was this lady on her deathbed, and she confessed. She was like, yeah, you know, like Hitler, he was here. She was like 78 or something. Hitler was here, and it was like, how long was he here? And she said about 9 or 10 days, and then he went to Argentina. Like, she was close enough to know.
Right.
Like, they weren't keeping it quiet. The, like, valley behind him, well, it's not even really a valley, but, like, it's known as Hitler's Valley.
Yeah, why would it be called that?
Why would it be called that? I can't remember which month he was there, but they were like, when was he here? And it was, like, after the war. I was like, interesting.
Right.
Another important thing to note about this house is it is not accessible.
Okay.
And the locals warn against going there. They're like, do not go there.
Even
the
now?
The groundskeeper is very hostile. And when they tried to reach out to like go there and ask them about stuff, he like was threatening them.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is even more like, what are you hiding there?
Right. Because if like Hitler actually didn't stay at that place, you'd be like, yeah, he wasn't here.
Yeah.
You would think.
Right. But it's like, even if it's not Hitler, who else are you hiding there? You know,
Right.
But there is this military guy, and I can't remember his name. So sorry. His job is to find high value targets for the U.S. government. Not only find them, but also to hide high value targets from the U.S. government.
Oh, from the
or for the U.S. government.
Oh.
So he went through like his checklist of this place, and he was like, "This is the perfect hiding spot. This is the exact spot someone would hide a high value target."
Yeah.
Dang. So the lady said he went from the Canary Islands. He went to Argentina.
Right.
So he rests up. He gets feeling better. Travels the rest of the way. Right.
Okay.
Well, what evidence do we have of that? In Argentina, it's called the Mesalones. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. Mesalones. Yeah, I think that's how they said it.
Well,
Mesalones Island.
Okay.
They found 4 buildings. It's in Argentina. There was German coins, pictures of Hitler with soldiers. They weren't dated though, so we can't say either way. And medication. Most of that medication was used to treat stomach ulcers.
Mm-hmm. Which so happened to be what Hitler had.
Was suffering from.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Now, it's important to note that all sightings and traces of Hitler, like, go cold for 2 years.
Okay.
And they were
like nothing.
They were like, where would he be? This Mesalones Island is like deep jungle.
Oh.
Like deep jungle.
Okay.
But it had like this, one of the main house is what they called it, building 1. It was like, there was tiles, like intricate tiles on the floor, on the walls, and like the bathrooms, or what they were presuming to be bathrooms, because there was like whatever. It was like very lavish in the middle of the jungle.
Yeah.
They had gravy boats and fine china.
Yeah.
Like that's
a hideout.
Yeah.
For someone important.
Right. Like that's it's not just someone lived here. It was like someone important. So they originally only found 3 buildings. Then they found a 4th building. And it looked like this is where soldiers would be.
Okay.
Soldiers would be on cots, on bunks. Right here. This is where they would keep the like equipment and all of that. All the artillery and everything. Right. And then the more they looked around, they found a guard shack, a terrace, shack. What?
A guard shack.
A terrace.
Okay.
Which is like a military tactic. If someone's trying to come up,
right,
then like you're gonna have levels, and those levels would be like, oh, we see you peeking over, now we're gonna like that's just enough time to kill you. And a wall, like remnants of wall that they presume went all the way around the perimeter of these buildings. Well, then it's like, so there's cliffside, and then a straight shot. It like curves in a little bit, and it's just straight shot to building 1, which is the main house. So like, why would you leave that unguarded?
Yeah.
They didn't leave it unguarded. It was like deep jungle. And so the more they like, the guy like swam into it, and he was like, well, now wait a second. He was like, this is a rock wall. Like it was all rock walls. Like it was like all rock walls. And they used like the natural stuff around them. Like, so there was like this cliffside almost.
Right.
And then they built the wall on either side of that.
Okay.
Well, this one, it was like clearly chiseled. And then there was also like a post, remnants of a post. It's like, that's not a tree trunk, that's a post. They clearly had a covering over them to kind of camouflage them.
Right.
And then the rock that like, because it was a big rock.
Like the cliff?
That was like guarding them. It wasn't the cliff.
Oh,
it was
a
like
rock.
down in the water. It was like just
okay.
this
like a
big
boulder.
sheet. Yeah.
Okay. Whoa.
It had a perfect right angle and chisel marks in it. So they were defending. They were like, set up a machine gun right here.
Yeah.
It covers this whole area.
Right.
There's no way anybody's getting in.
Yeah. And it's the middle of the jungle. It's not like anyone can just trek through without causing a scene.
Exactly.
Ooh. Okay.
It's wild.
Oh my gosh.
So, in my opinion, you don't have to take my opinion. In my opinion, Hitler went from the Berlin bunker.
Okay.
He went through the tunnels. He went to Brandenburg Gate.
Right.
And he escaped with the pilot, flew to Denmark, hopped on another plane that was farther, that could travel farther, went to Spain, hung out there for a little bit.
Right.
Then took a U-boat to the Canary Islands.
Right.
And then hung out there for a little bit. And then from there went to Argentina, where he pushed in and went to the Mazalones Island.
Right. I mean, it's not like you're going to stay in Europe. So, I mean,
no,
obviously.
You can't. There's no way.
Yeah.
You would be found immediately.
Right. Okay.
So you may be thinking, so what was the point of him not committing suicide? Why would he not commit suicide? He was caught.
Yeah.
Well,
he was crazy.
Yes, but there's also this thing called the Fourth Reich.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth Reich. I don't know.
Yeah.
Reich. Okay. And it was the continuation of the Nazi Party after Hitler went on the run. German allies were to use, there was like a memo sent, German allies were to use their corporations to help fund the Nazi Party while they were forced underground. There's one family in particular. They're the Eichhorns. They helped to hide Hitler in their personal home. They owned a hotel and they hid him. Now, they checked out the hotel and it was like, when you go to the hotel, you go to like the suite that Hitler would have stayed in because he had kind of like a lavish lifestyle he would like to live. So when you go to the room that he would have been in, it was completely compromised. There was mountains on either side. Anyone could be looking in. There was ways to like climb up the building right there. Anyone, like it was all open windows. Anyone would have been able to see him. Well, then they had there was this person who was like, well, you know, the Eichhorns, they had him in their home. I was like, what?
What?
And then they checked out the basement and there's a tunnel going from the Eichhorns' personal residence to their hotel wine cellar. And they had these tunnels built so that Hitler could meet with people that he needed to meet with and still, quote, run the Nazi Party.
This was in Argentina? Or where was this? Sorry, I didn't mean to throw you off. I was just like, wait.
If you didn't ask me, I could have told you.
I know. Was this, so this is...
I believe, yes, I believe it was in Argentina.
Okay.
Yes, it was. It was I think it was either, it was before he got to the Mazalones Islands.
Okay.
But the grandniece that I was telling you about, she lives in the Mazalones Islands.
What?
Why would she live there?
Yeah. If this guy...
Why would she?
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
Right.
Anyways, so he would go and he would meet with people and underground. Why was he meeting with people? He needed funds. He needed supplies. He needed things to start the Fourth Reich.
That's what you say.
Okay. One of the people that he met with in particular was he owned a bicycle shop.
Okay.
And he completely switched up his MO and he basically was caught as an arms dealer. And Hitler met with him while he was staying with the Eichhorns. Why would Hitler need to meet with an arms dealer, Hannah?
He was trying to start another war.
He was trying to continue. He was building a new army. Mm-hmm. They found the area. It wasn't really a base, but it was an underground secret thing, where they were trying to compile trying to build weapons of mass destruction.
Dang. Like bombs?
Yeah.
Like big time.
Like big
Mass
time.
destruction. Mm.
Hitler was bound and determined to finish what he started.
My God.
But he was forced underground. So he needed to use the people he had connections with.
Yeah.
To build these tunnels so he couldn't be seen.
My gosh.
Yeah. That's what I have for you.
Dang. So is there any theory about like what ultimately happens to him?
I don't know.
Or
well, because there's no record.
Right. Because no one, I mean,
it's
when
just
was
like
he born?
The sightings stopped happening, you know?
Like, yeah, he
so
would have
it's
been,
like,
he'd be dead.
He'd be dead, yeah. So it's like the sightings stopped happening. Obviously,
he died.
World War III didn't happen.
Yeah.
No weapons of mass destructions happened. My best guess is he was sick.
Yeah.
He had traveled quite a bit.
Right.
Quite a bit. He was on the run. He was trying to rebuild his army.
Yeah.
My best guess is
it died out.
He died.
Yeah.
Due to the stress on his body and his mind. You know, like.
Right. Okay.
But he did not die in that bunker.
Right. Not the way that we've heard.
There was also, I wasn't really paying attention. I was researching something else, so I wasn't really paying attention to this part. But there was, on the Mazalones Islands, I talked to one of the locals, and like in town.
Right.
And he basically, he was like, I can't talk to you here. Meet me here at nighttime.
What?
And they were like, I don't feel good about this. So they were like, why are we meeting in the middle of the woods?
Right.
At nighttime. What's going on? He goes, let me show you something. It's just like a 2-minute walk this way. And they were like, eh. And so he showed it to him. And it was this house. And he said this was a meeting place for Germans. And they would like heil before they entered.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like, that was the home of the guy who was to take over.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
For Hitler.
Right.
And that's when they found out,
yeah,
his niece lives in the Mazalones Islands. But the tile in the bathroom was the same exact tile of the buildings. Of building 1 and 2. Yeah. It was the same tile.
So someone was like an ally of his there, and he was building both these buildings for other guy and for Hitler.
Oh yeah.
My gosh. Do you think that America at the time would have been like, we want his body? Or someone like,
well, but it wasn't. America was just an ally.
Yeah. Yeah. You think one of the allies for sure. Someone.
Like the Soviets wanted his body, and I guess they were just like, whatever, he's not coming back. We won't see him again, so we'll just say he's dead.
I think everyone at the time would just be like, okay, it's over. The war's over. We're just whatever. Like, let's all get back to normal. And, you know, he's, you know, done with. It's not going to happen again.
Yep.
But, like, you would think that someone would be like, we want this man dead and we want it documented.
But according to the Soviets, he was dead. There just wasn't an autopsy. Yeah. According to the Soviets, we found Hitler's body. Just kidding. No, we didn't. We didn't mean to do that. Just kidding.
But no one was like, why didn't he have an autopsy?
He didn't have an autopsy done.
Why?
And that's why the U.S. was like, we don't have any clear evidence stating that Hitler actually did die.
Yeah. My God.
I mean, obviously he died, but
eventually.
Been too long. But like, yeah.
My gosh.
So I don't know what happened to the Fourth Reich. I don't know. Maybe that's what the people in Argentina and the Mazalones Islands are still scared of. Maybe it's still active. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's just like not very big because there's no funding for it anymore. But like,
I mean, that is terrifying. I mean, people always talk about another world war. That would be.
Mm-hmm. Maybe
my
they're
gosh.
like, oh, you know, everybody's got nukes. We can't start anything now.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, well,
But yeah.
Nothing like a little light, like I said before,
Light listening.
light listening, light topic. My gosh.
If you think Hitler is alive, or if you think he died, or if you have other theories, please let us know.
Yeah. Well, he's not alive, but
well, lived.
Well, if he lived and did not die in the bunker,
let us know. Yeah. Let us know what you think. You can reach us at lattespodcast@gmail.com or on Facebook and Instagram at Lattes on My Mind.
Also, let us know if you have any other, weird conspiracies about people who supposedly died, but they didn't die, or,
let us know what conspiracies you'd like to hear next.
Yeah.
And we'll do them.
We'll do it.